Coming up on today's Code Bet Daily, we are covering a whole mess of sports. I'll tell you that much. We're talking AFL Brownlow and Premiership odds, some NFL futures, of course, the Women's World Cup. Stats guy, what about you?
Yeah, some unders in the FIFA Women's World Cup. I think it's going to be a really close semi-final and a co-bet favourite in the tennis.
And also, I think, Alex, you're looking at some EPL.
Speaking of a code bet favourite, Marcus Rashford tonight to get off to a flyer for Manchester United.
Absolutely awesome. It's Code Bet Daily. It's chock full of player props, game picks, best bets. There's even a sneaky rate my multi that I just popped in there. Check it out. It's really good. Welcome to Code Bet Daily. It is Monday. Oh, geez. August 14. All day. It's episode 173 here of Code Bet Daily. I am your host, Jaymz Clements. I'm the editor of a very good website. It's actually called Code Bet. You can find that at codebet.com.au, breaking down every single bit of betting analysis you need broken down. Odds comparisons for days, I tell you. Either way, I'm joined as always by the pontiffs. That's right, the pontiffs of punting. We've got the stats guy over there. What's going on, Liam?
I'm still buzzing from the Matildas on the weekend. I almost vomited watching that bloody penalties. I don't want any more penalties. But that was awesome.
Had nothing to do with the 87 tins you had as well. And we've got Alex Donnelly down there recuperating from having 87 tins for drinks yesterday. What's going on, Alex?
Yeah, I'm here but not here, if you understand what I'm saying. I'm happy I didn't watch any of the football yesterday because, as we said, weird stuff happens in Tasmania. And no more penalties, please. I don't need my heart rate to be 187 at like 8:30 on a Saturday.
Yeah, I guess I spent Saturday night just scaring the absolute bejesus out of a 10-year-old baby.
I saw that message come through. I was like,
what is happening? Why is everyone yelling?
Can confirm it was backed up by the squid who managed to make an appearance at the brewery yesterday, even though Stats Guy did not.
I was not in a good way yesterday.
Let's get into it. Code Brewery Daily. Oh, geez, that'd be a good podcast, actually. Code Bet Daily.
Good idea.
On the tin. It's Code, it's betting, it's daily. We're talking player props, game picks, best bets. Do we have a Rate My Multi today? I don't think I've got one. So.
No.
I don't, but yeah. That's all right.
It's a bit tough to do Rate My Multis on a Monday, just saying. Right. Either way, we're going to be looking at a whole mess of gear today. I'm talking AFL Premiership odds. That has changed pretty dramatically over the weekend. The Women's World Cup, I'm just going to look at Sweden versus Spain for my game pick. And then some NFL futures as the NFL feature on our website goes back up today. So that's awesome. You, stats guy.
Bit of EPL, the last game of match week 1 tonight. FIFA Women's World Cup, obviously the semi-finals start tomorrow night. And then some tennis, an old reliable in the tennis.
Ooh, hard court season.
Yes.
Definitely not the clay courts.
No, all tennis.
Alex, what about you?
I feel like we're all looking at the same stuff. Women's World Cup, EPL, but I've got an NRL take, which is completely obvious, but we need to talk about it.
Sure. Let's get into it. Let's do some player props.
We've got a Jimception here.
Jimception is nothing that anyone needs to get into. As mentioned, my player prop, stuff like this. We talked about the bont for the Brownlow last week, right? And I'm still excited for that. And I've also, the weird sort of thing when it comes to the Brownlow is that you can see the markets change pretty dramatically after 1 week, right?
Yep.
It's exactly what's happened here, because after we've got a bit of a wonky sort of weird outing from both the Bont and Petrarca, they've both lengthened quite dramatically after a single round of footy. The Bont is out to 275 after being 210 heading into the week, and Petrarca's all the way back out to 375.
Even though Petrarca should have had the match-winning goal and the bloody...
Marchbank got his hand to it, and here we are.
No, he didn't.
It was definitely touched. It was definitely not touched.
I'm sure it hit his other hand on the way down.
I was yelling. I couldn't believe that. Anyway.
Well, the thing for me is that Nick Dacos has now roared back into contention after one sort of wobbly week from both the other sort of rampant runners. He's now shortened back into 375.
He's shortened without even playing. Wow.
Blowing out at 6. So this is
it's not like betting markets to overreact to something that makes no sense.
But this is the thing, like the Brownlow predictors have all had basically Petrarca and the Bont within, as I sort of broke down in last week's article, right? Between basically 2 and 7 points at that point heading into last week. Petrarca probably maybe have picked up a point this week. The Bont, the Dogs were just a mess. So they've got a lot of work to do at this point. And my favorite thing still might be from the clouds, Zach Butters.
Yeah, 3 votes, I reckon, yesterday.
dramatically. He's racked up another awesome game as the Power demolished GWS. I absolutely love Butters. We all know this. I've talked about Butters all year.
Yeah.
Now he's at 15. That's $6. I think he was actually at the 23. Oh, no. Jordan Dawson was 23 heading into last week, but he was 21, tied with Taranto. Taranto's still in 21. Butters at 15. I am on Butters right now to come roaring home as Port actually win these last two games and Butters gets his nose just in front somehow. It'd be pretty amazing. I don't mind it. So $15. But I want to get your read on the on your top two. How are you feeling about the Bont and Petrarca, gentlemen?
Here you go, Alex.
I honestly, after yesterday's result, we said that he'd probably get Finn McGuinness or Hawthorn, the Bont, and obviously not a lot happened there. Petrarca was like okay on Saturday night, but it's also, look at who Melbourne have got in their final two games to play. They've got the Swans and Hawthorn this weekend, so every chance Petrarca gets 6 votes. Western Bulldogs have West Coast this week, so ideally Bont gets a couple of votes there. And then they got Geelong in the last round where he needs to go Patrick Cripps of the final round last year to probably get the Bulldogs into the finals as well. So they've got to step up and play well because the D's are playing for a top 2 spot. The Dogs are fighting for a final spot now. So they both need to go psycho in the next 2 weeks and ideally get 6 votes. And then, I don't know.
It's going to be tough, yeah. I'm still leaning towards the Bont because I think he's going to absolutely tear West Coast apart. And even Geelong's midfield hasn't been very strong this year. So I know Geelong are obviously still a decent team, but Bont against them, I think, can even get the 3 votes again. So I'm going to lean towards Bont.
I feel like you saw as well, like the Melbourne game this week, Petrarca with Oliver back as well, suddenly not in and amongst it as much as he had been. So it's a little bit trickier for him in the stretch run, but I still like Zach Butters, just saying. And speaking of which, the premiership odds as well, like if you want to look at those, it's amazing how much that's changed just this week.
I officially have no idea.
Carlton are third favourites on some sites, which I thought was a bit ridiculous. But
third might be a bit of a stretch.
Yeah.
But my favourite pick actually out of them is probably Brisbane now at this point, right? $6, a double chance. They play Collingwood down here in Marvel this Friday. And what's the key aspect of Marvel in Melbourne?
Brisbane win.
It's not the MCG.
The MCG. So Brisbane actually win there. Well, I think the stat is, I think Collingwood are 7-6 there over the last 5 years. Brisbane are 8-2. So if the Lions get over the line in that one, they've locked away the double home finals, and I don't see too many folks going up there to beat Brisbane, and so they could find themselves playing in the last.
The only thing is, the only way they're going to win the flag, I think, if there's a grease fire at the G, and then somehow they have to play the finals at Marvel or something like that. I don't know if I can trust them at the G in the finals.
It was Melbourne last year that they beat at the G.
Yeah, in the semi, smashed them.
Exactly right. So 14 straight times.
They could do that again. Yeah, true.
It's just simply like, all right, turn around. But that's kind of it. If you give yourself the chance just to like be in the big dance, be in the final game of the season, then it's just any given Sunday, have a crack. True. I actually they've got by far the best odds, I think, at this point. Of anybody, obviously, in the top 4. It's just
given the fact that Geelong are like 4th favourite to win the flag and they're 11th. Check that out on my premiership write-up later. I'm like, how are they 4th favourite? They can't even make the finals at this point.
Yeah. Even my young son's great-grandmother was like, no, how are Geelong the 6th favourite in the AFL to win the thing? They're not even in the finals.
Is she Mrs. Doubtfire?
But Mary, that's a really good point. It makes zero sense. So there you go. There's a bit of AFL talk. It was a chaos weekend. What was it? Up until, I think, through Saturday, we had through to the first game Sunday. How many? There was like 4 games decided by less than 10.
Less than 10, yeah.
It was nuts. So anyway, #flaggers. Let's go. Right, let's go to Alex.
Yeah, having a look at Marcus Rashford tonight in the EPL. Well, it's 5 a.m. tomorrow morning, but technically it's, still counts as Monday night as United takes on Wolves at Old Trafford. He was a cash cow for us last season. I think he scored, 16 goals in 16 games. It was a really good time for us over Christmas and New Year. Just like Rashford, money, Rashford, money. So with Man United's new striker, Erasmus Højlund, he's apparently not playing. He's got a back injury, which kind of isn't ideal when you've just paid $100 million for him. Anyway, that means Rashford leads the attack, has proven last year, scored goals for fun. He's got goals in his last 5 night games at Old Trafford. They're going to be way too good for Wolves. Wolves absolutely stink.
Yeah.
They also sacked their manager. Has Gary O'Neill come in yet? I can't even.
I think he would have come in, but he literally would have been there for about 5 minutes and go, okay, Gary, you got a coach already. You don't know any of the players. Put the name tags on.
Yeah, righto, Gary. Good luck. Keep us alive or you'll be sacked in 70 days. That's probably the way it'll go because it's Wolves. Man United will dead set win this 3 or 4-0. Pretty easy. Rashford anytime is even money. Him to score 2 goals is $5 as well. I'm all over that. This could be a nice and easy start for United, and I look forward to the takes of United fans on the internet going, we're going to win the title. It's like, speak Wolves, shut up.
I like this. I think Stats Guy, you're talking about this game as well, right?
Yeah, well, Alex did mention there's going to be 3 or 4 goals, so I think there's going to be multiple goal scorers in this one. So I'm going to have a look at Bruno Fernandes, who was been absolutely awesome for them over the last couple of seasons.
Yeah.
Wolves just look like a lost side of that. New manager coming in, and no attacking threat. Whilst Man U finished the season really strongly, looked great in attack. Bruno Fernandes, I think he can get a long shot goal even in this one. Wolves are going to sit back and try and stop the Man U players getting inside the box. Bruno Fernandes is known for his long shot ability, so I think he could even ping one from long. But even if he doesn't get a long shot, you got the great dribbling skills of Rashford and Sancho also up front for Man U. So, and those dribbling skills could get a penalty for the Red Devils here. So Fernandes, he takes their penalties. Just for Wolves, I think it's going to be an absolute shambles game for them. Wouldn't be surprised if they concede a penalty. So Fernandes to take that penalty, he loves scoring. I think he scored 48 penalties across his career at Man U. So yeah, $3.25 I think is a really good bet when there's going to be multiple goals in this one.
Jeez, you got there eventually.
I know, I was going around in circles then. I just think he's going to score a penalty.
You're not even the hungover one here, Stats Guy.
Sound like our boss giving a speech.
A little bit shorter.
It's all right. With this in mind, how do we feel about a rate my multi of this game? Where
I put a multi in the paper yesterday for that. Actually, I could.
So we got United to win over 2.5 goals, and you can have Rashford and Fernandes in there.
Oh, yeah,
750.
What was that? Sorry, you cut out.
750.
750. Okay, yeah.
I don't mind that at all.
Not against that at all.
Don't even mind the Man U halftime, full time in there.
Nice. I think basically what we're reading into this is that the Wolves stink.
Yep. So. Yes.
All right.
Now they'll come out and win. So
I was about to say, go check out all of our EPL. We broke down all 20 teams and where they're going to fit into the table this year. All up on the website now. That's a lot of words between Stats Guy and I.
Yep. Contenders, mid-table pretenders, and the relegator raiders.
What?
Sure.
The relegation chances, obviously. So some good betting picks and tips in there. Let's do some game picks.
What's your best match or game pick?
We're all going the same game, so this is pretty fun.
Yeah.
Women's World Cup Tuesday evening. Well, now we saw myself snag a sandwich from the Stats Guy on Friday night as my beloved Sweden overcame the Japanese.
Yep.
And they are now in the semi-final against Spain over there in New Zealand. Oh, Brute, this is a sweet matchup, eh? And Spain versus Sweden is actually an unreal matchup, I think. Just a couple of very interesting game styles and stuff. I'm taking I can't go off the Swedes. I think Sweden still win this one. We're going Sweden under 2.5. That's $6. I love it. Japan broke my heart with the under 2.5 in that game as well with that late goal, but juice.
Yeah.
Sweden basically, not so much dominated, but I think their game plan and the way they go about it just negates a lot of what Japan did really, really well. Using that size and strength, they just dominated it. But otherwise, I still think Spain versus Sweden. We're going the Sweden and the under 2.5 for me.
Yep.
One of the best defenses in the Women's World Cup all tournament. They've been absolutely unreal. I can't go past them. I think their keeper is unreal. I love them. I'm going to just be backing Sweden to win the entire thing. So, unless Attili's make it.
Yeah, I was about to say, what the hell, Jim?
Yeah, get him off. Sound like Alex.
Hey, well, I've been on this bandwagon all the way through. I ain't jumping off.
Green and gold is better than blue and gold, but still. So there we go. I'm taking Sweden. Alex, what are you doing?
I'm taking Spain. I like the way that they've been going about it. I thought that game against Netherlands was awesome, despite it, going to that extra time and then Spain getting it done there. I think they have an X factor that Sweden don't seem to have. When just watching Sweden, they seem sort of very regimented and by the system that they're going to play. They don't have any sort of not flair, but Spain can just go, all right, we're going to change it up and try some cool stuff. Let's go do this. And the fact that they can have Patelis on the bench and then bring her on, who's a 2-time Ballon d'Or winner, is absolutely insane to me. I think that sort of in the crunch, that's what's going to come down to it, is that Spain can just go, you know what, okay, we're going to make a bunch of changes and change our complete style of play, and it can really turn the game, whereas Sweden are just going to just try and chip away. But as sort of seen, watching them up close in that game against Japan where they were lucky to hold on, and even against America, like everything sort of has to go right for them, whereas Spain can create something out of nothing. So I'm just going to take Spain head-to-head in the 90 minutes at the $2.10.
Nice. You make a good point. I think their attacking of the sort of 4 remaining teams has looked the most dangerous at times.
Yep.
The fact that like Netherlands still stuck it out though, that's the thing that sticks in my brain. Where I'm like, Sweden are just so good defensively. Yeah, they should be should be able to negate it just time.
There was a couple. Also remember there was those few goals that were ruled out, and there was a couple of like really good saves by the Netherlands keeper too. So.
Just saying, Sweden could do that too.
Yeah.
What do you reckon, stats guy?
I'm not going to do an actual head-to-head pick here, but I'm leaning towards. Because I looked at what you guys bet.
Wuss bets this way.
No, not Wuss bet. I am
you and Anthony Albanese can join the line in Wuss bets.
No, he didn't let me finish. I said I'm going to give a tip here, but I will be betting on Spain. I think they're the better overall squad.
To jump in there, stats guy. Sorry, the idea of Australia versus France, and the Wuss bets. I don't know how Emmanuel Macron didn't jump in and go, I remember that subcontinent.
Yeah, I bet you a submarine.
Yeah.
And subs.
No more submarine talk, I don't think.
You get one free if you win. If we win, you got to pay us to build you a submarine.
That would have been funny as, yeah.
Yeah, it would have been elite tweeting, but...
Absolute Wuss bet territory is like, you've got to support us.
Yeah.
It's France. What do you reckon they're going to do? They hate the English.
Exactly.
You Wuss betting cowards.
There'll be green and gold everywhere in France.
Grow a pair and put something on the line. Subs or otherwise.
Subs or otherwise.
Make me sandwiches. I don't care.
Yeah, we do sub sandwiches, but they could have done submarine.
Materials of war, whatever. Just have a goddamn crack, you cowards. Anyway, sorry.
That's a very good point. Very good point. I'm going to have a look at the under 2.5, as Jim just mentioned before. Sweden have been awesome in defence. You got Zasira Musovic, who plays for my team, Chelsea, in the WSL. She's been the player of the match in multiple games just because she saves everything. She's been absolutely awesome. They've only conceded 2 goals in the entire tournament. Spain as well, they're known for their attack, but they've also had a clean sheet in 7 of their last 9 matches, so they're really strong in defense as well. So the under 2.5 is looking really good. I think it's only like $1.60, but then I'm going to pair that up with the highest scoring half to be the second half. Now, that's a bit of a niche sort of bet, but Sweden, they've only scored 1 first half goal across their last 3 matches. And a lot of games, when I watch just any sort of competition, the game sort of opens up after teams sort of know what each other's game plan is in the second half. So under 2.5 goals and the highest scoring half to be the second, $3.91. I really like
this. This will be the one game where there's like 4 goals in the first half.
Yeah. Well, I just feel like even in this tournament, there's been like a lot of 1-0 or 0-all first halves, just especially in a big semi-final like this. I feel like it could be tense early, so I'm going to go for goals in the second half, but still under that 2.5. So maybe like a 1-0 win to Spain I'm leaning towards.
I'm going to go 2-0 Sweden, I reckon. Correct score. It is weird because you've got New Zealand. I feel like all the games that we're watching New Zealand have either been massive blowouts or nothing.
Yeah.
Not bad, stats guy.
Good job.
All right, let's do some best bets.
It's best bets. It's best bets. It's time for all the best bets.
Gotta love that 7-second delay.
It was the time for the best bets, and then 18 seconds later, it was also time.
A few moments later.
That was funny.
Righto. NFL preseason, as mentioned, we have the NFL section on the website going back up, which is always a nice time of year where it's like, we finally got it sorted, and up it goes. So you'll read my 5 best preseason bets later today. But a couple of team win under overs that I've been digging into, especially the Baltimore Ravens. That's one of my best bets for the entire season. The over 10.5, well, the over 9.5, I think, is actually the line. I wouldn't mind going the alternate 10.5. But 9.5, simple fact, Lamar Jackson, quarterback for your Baltimore Ravens. When he's played and been healthy, they have not won less than 9 games. That seems pretty simple. Basically, as long as Lamar stays healthy, they go over the 9.5. But really, there was even times, I think, the year that he only played 12 games, and they, I think, were 7-4 in the games that he finished as well that season anyway. The Ravens and the rest of the AFC North. So I sort of talked to this a little bit about when I talked about Cleveland last week. And the Cleveland over 8.5, I'm still sort of sitting on it. I'm not as bullish on it as other folks, but it's not a bad one. But the over 9.5 for Baltimore, they play the AFC South, which has a couple of very horrible teams in it, and the NFC West. So your divisions play each other, right? And they're sort of on a rotating schedule. So the NFC West has also 2 very horrible teams on it. So it feels like there's at least 4 gimme wins in there right off the bat against probably Houston, Indy, the Rams, and the Cardinals. So you feel like Baltimore, if they then just sort of win those, split the rest of their division games against Pittsburgh, Cleveland, and Cincy, if not do a little bit better, because one of those teams will probably be a little bit worse than we expect. Hopefully it's not Baltimore. But my big thing is Baltimore, both on offense and defense. Last year, defensively, they traded for Roquan Smith from the Bears. After that, they were the second best defense in the league. That seems like a pretty big jump. Not bad.
Yeah.
They re-signed him to the biggest linebacker contract in history. Very nice. But on offense is the weirdest thing for Lamar Jackson. He'll be like, hang on a second. What do you mean I can throw the ball and someone's actually going to catch it? That's how... Wait, I can do that as well? The other quarterbacks? Amazing, because they've actually got some offensive weapons for the bloke outside of the big tight end Mark Andrews, who's been a mainstay for Lamar. But they've also got Odell Beckham Jr. They drafted Zay Flowers. They've got weapons. Rashad Bateman's on this team now. It's like absolute chaos. Lamar's got to be just like a kid in a candy store. He's like, well, if I'm going to run through everybody by myself and try to win this game by myself, I can throw it and the guy will catch it. The difference in the rest of his last 5 years. So I think the offensive upside is massive. The defensive upside, we saw it in the second half of last season, massive. They smashed this over 9.5. I am all over Baltimore. And speaking of which, Indy, I talked about how horrible they feel like. They got the rookie QB. Don't know if Jonathan Taylor's going to play. New coach, just grossness. Go the under 6.5. And rushing leader. I think I've talked about this a couple of times. I've ended up settling on, talked about Travis Etienne as a bit of a rank outsider. It feels like they've got a couple of other names, though, in Jacksonville that have come through training camp. And this is why you put the season bets on basically throughout the last couple of weeks of preseason, which we're in now, because Jacksonville, they've got a big backup running back behind my man Travis Etienne. And I don't know, you might enjoy just his name. I don't know if you gentlemen have heard about Tank Brigsby. But
no, that's a great name. Is that his actual first name, Tank?
One of the abs. Well, the thing is, Stats Guy, he's actually very small. No, he is
yeah, sure,
huge.
Tank,
and he is legendary. Tank Bigsby will be backing up Travis Etienne, and this is the thing. He's been absolutely crushing it through preseason. So he's 6 foot, 220 pounds, just a tank of a dude. So
nice.
I do love it. So I'd steer clear of Etienne. I'd probably go back to Derrick Henry at this point, $7, or Saquon Barkley at 15. Both of them probably have like that one massive year left in them. Saquon probably 1 or 2. As long as they obviously stay healthy, they could easily lead the league in rushing. And the fact that they're $7 or $15 is still really good. So Breece Hall, you might remember I talked about him a little while ago too. There's just weird sort of Jets things in the air where they're like, we might sign Dalvin Cook. And I'm like, just give the ball to Breece Hall. He's awesome. But so I'm going to steer clear of here until that. Well, still steer clear of him until there's a little bit more sort of, I don't know, clarity on his situation, on the situation for the Jets. So there you go. Derrick Henry, Saquon, Indy under 6.5, Cleveland over 8.5, still Baltimore. The lock. 8.5. King Jimmy's lock of the week. All right. What about Alex? What's your best bets?
Speaking of an absolute lock, it's the Penrith Panthers to win the NRL this year.
Wow.
They're cruising. They are honestly cruising right now. They're on top of the table with a couple of rounds to go. Their for and against is a positive 289.
That's nuts.
That's a lot. They're the best defensive team by a mile with only letting in 254 points all season. It's just ridiculous. They've played, 22 games and they've let in 254 points.
Pretty much 12 a game. Yeah, it's nuts.
If they're at their best, you can't beat them. You just can't. Good luck. You're going to have to rely on, Nathan Cleary and Jerome Luai probably getting in a punch on for some stupid reason. Stephen Crichton and Brian Tor to go. What's that white line? I don't want to jump over that. Yeah, it's just not going to happen. Penrith are way too good. Just, start engraving it. 3 in a row, Penrith Panthers, take the 220. They genuinely have to trip over themselves to lose.
They are absolutely dominant. I'll pay you that.
Yeah.
220 to win it all still.
I don't mind.
So for
Broncos
anyone who's
still
been getting the text messages from BetR to cash out for your whatever, take that money and whack it on them because you'll make more.
Yeah.
It's not that sneaky. It's just maths.
Smart punting. That's what we're here to do at CodeBet. Smart punting.
Stats guy likes the Broncos here.
No, I'm saying I think they are still a threat. There's only two teams I think that can win it, and it's the Broncos and the Panthers. But I would still lean towards the Panthers. But Broncos aren't as far behind as a lot of people think, I reckon. But
offensively, the Broncos have still
offensively,
got their chaos. But defensively, I think
defensively
separates the Panthers from everybody else. They just
they're just nuts.
These clamps,
yep.
Every week,
clamps, and more clamps.
All right, Stats guy, your best bets.
Yeah, everyone's favorite tennis open, the Cincinatti Open. I'm looking at the Karen Khachanov versus Andy Murray matchup. You got Murray's absolutely charged back up the rankings. He's 40th in the world now, which I can't believe. I keep having a look. I'm waiting for him to drop off because he's got a metal hip. He's got so many injuries in his career, and he's still back up there in the world. You got Khachanov still in his prime though, in 11th in the world. I was surprised that Khachanov is the underdog in this matchup, so that's why I'm going to have a look at him to win this head-to-head. The Russian, the Liam Hemsworth lookalike, whatever you want to call him. He's 13-6 on hard courts this year, which is pretty solid, but he's made 4 quarterfinals and 2 semifinals since the start of 2023 alone. He's in career best form. He's got an elite serve and great power. I think he'll be just too much for Murray here. Last time they did play was 6 years ago. Murray did win, but that was when Murray, was a lot younger and more in his prime compared to Khachanov, who was just rising up. So I don't mind Khachanov just head-to-head here at $2. I was very surprised that he wasn't the favorite. I know Murray's definitely come back into form, but Khachanov, just a better overall player in his prime, a lot younger. But the old CodeBet favorite, over 22.5 total games. Andy Murray, no matter what happens in his matches, he had a streak around the Australian Open where I think it was like 15 of his 17 matches were going over. Last time they did play, this did go the over. I was like, I don't even have to check that. I knew it was going to go over. It's only a best of 3 sets, so just get it to 3 sets. It will most likely go over. $1.80 I think is a really good bet as well. But yeah, Khachanov, I think he's the better overall player in his prime. $2, I think that's a great bet.
Not bad for a bloke who was Liam Hemsworth, but got cooked for an extra 25 minutes.
Yes. Yeah. The manliest Karen going around as well. Yeah.
Wow.
Like Liam Hemsworth, but if he grew up on a diet of vodka and Mountain Dew or something like that. Nice one. All right, good job, Karen. Righto, let's do it. That's it. Done for today. CodeBet Daily in the bag. We'll be back on deck tomorrow, and we will also be back in your face and ear holes Wednesday night because we'll be live streaming along with the Matildas game against the Poms. It should be absolute chaos. That's right. We're going to be in the office, in the studio, hanging out, maybe with a few spicy kombuchas, just saying, and watching the Tillies absolutely run rings around England, no doubt. So you can watch along with us at codebet.com.au, on YouTube, on Twitch. I assume Gerald's going to get all that fixed. Facey, Twitter, all the good stuff. So remember to like, review, and star all our podcasts as well. We've got the AFL show, the NRL show, the EPL show, and of course the Daily Show. All you have to do is make sure you subscribe and go in and find the stars and just, give your mates at CodeBet a bit of a 5-star right there. And check us and follow across all the socials, of course. Facey IG, X, TikTok, Twitch, YouTube, all that good stuff. Send any questions, any comments, any rate my multis for the stats guy to judge. He's a very judgy character. We hear that all the time.
Yeah.
And
something for you.
That's it, I think. Good job. Thanks, stats guy.
Thank you.
And thank you, Alex.
Yeah, I'm going to bed.
Nice one. He's the birthday boy. Thanks, as always, to Gerald for producing, and thanks to me, because why not? What do we say, stats guy?
Gamble responsibly.
All right, may all your picks come in. Happy punting. Go the Dillies. We'll catch you tomorrow. Go Bet Daily. Out.
What's gambling really costing you? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.